And we're live. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the 103rd week of the Free Assange Vigil. My name is Andrew Smith, and joining me today is Misty Winston and our friend from Free Assange EU, Easy. But we will get into that in just a moment. Before we do, I do want to run through the numbers with everybody. We have 3,847 days of illegal and arbitrary detention for Julian Assange. 810 of those days since the WikiLeaks founder was trafficked from the Ecuadorian embassy after being sold to the US and UK for a $4.2 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund to the nation of Ecuador. We have 173 days since the January 6th ruling denying Julian Assange bail after District Judge Vanessa Baratzer personally ordered his release and ruled no extradition in his case. We have 1,402 days of inhumane detention for the alleged Vault 7 whistleblower Joshua Schultz. At least 967 of those days have been spent under special administrative measures, which is horrifying because he isn't even charged yet. He's a pretrial detainee. We have 809 days of political persecution for a friend of Julian, Ola Bini, by the hands of the Ecuadorian government. We have super disturbing news, 14 days since Commander X was illegally taken from Mexico and rendition to the United States. Free Commander X _ on Twitter right now. They do have support and legal defense funds up.
And there's a tweet storm today, just so everybody knows.
Yes.
I think it starts at 4. I'll check. Sorry, go.
No, you're good. Our three pieces of good news: we have 18 days since whistleblower Reality Winner was moved to house arrest and is expected to be free but not out of parole on November 23rd, 2021 of this year. We have 464 days of freedom for Chelsea Manning, who is still regularly streaming on Twitch. And we have 112 days of freedom for Jeremy Hammond, who does still have a strict parole, but nonetheless is free of any detention centers or halfway houses. So super, super excited about that. Assange Week, kicking it off, the home stretch of the Free Assange Tour, or the Home Run Tour, leading into Julian's birthday on July 3rd, followed by everyone's favorite Freedom Day, July 4th. But with
Freedom Day.
How are you today, Misty?
Everyone's favorite Freedom Day makes me giggle, Andrew. That's funny shit. I need that on a shirt, you guys. Okay, so the tweet storm for Commander X is 4 o'clock. I found the tweet. And the account that you can follow is at FreeCommanderX _. But the hashtag is hashtag FreeCommanderX. Starts at 4 Eastern. Get involved with that. They have ready-made tweets already. So yeah, I guess I could throw this in the chat. That would be smart, wouldn't it? Yeah, so definitely get involved with that for sure.
Down in the comments in the description below, we have information for Craig Murray's Legal Defense Fund. He's facing 8 months in prison right now. We also have Daniel's Billboard fundraiser going on for North Carolina area. So if you're interested, hop in and donate on that. I think they're just reaching their goal to get their first billboards up.
I'm going to donate more because I'm going to have some more left over from Ohio. Cool. So.
But we have a very, very special friend hanging out above me here. We have Easy with Free Assange EU. We do have Jesse Jett just joining us, but I do want to pull Easy in first. How are you doing today, Easy?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you very much. And thank you for having me in your show. It's really great. And it's an honor to be with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Could you talk a little bit about the work that you're doing with Free Assange EU and all the wonderful things you've been able to accomplish over there?
Sure. First of all, we have a website. It's called freeassange.eu. Maybe I can show it. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, we can throw it in the chat.
Perfect. And on this website, we collect every vigil that is going on in Germany. And there are many vigils. There are many cities doing regular vigil once a week or every other week. Cities also do once a month, but anyway, on a regular basis. And I can tell you which cities. It's Berlin and Düsseldorf, Hamburg, Munich, Cologne, Frankfurt, Cottbus, Ulm, Bremen, Stuttgart, Flensburg, Baden-Baden, and there are even others. So there's a lot of stuff going on here in Germany. And we're also
Germany's killing
preparing-
it. Germany has been killing it for a long time. I mean, kicking ass.
There were even more cities. We were about 35 cities on the peak. But then, Corona came and there was a lot of, we couldn't do so much anymore. But it's growing again. And we're keeping at it. Now we are preparing the birthday actions for 3rd of July. And there will be also in very many cities, there will be actions. And what I heard from Hamburg, they are planning really a great show. They are planning something like a raffle. I don't know if it's the right word, but you can win the book of Nils Melzer, and you can turn a wheel and quiz. They are doing a lot of fantastic. So greetings to Hamburg. And then maybe you have heard about the book of Nils Melzer. He wrote it, and it came out on, I think, 19th of April. And we are trying to promote it. Yesterday, we had a reading of this book in Cologne. And what we do is we talk to booksellers and to little shops, and we want them to put it in their window, and so people can buy this book and get informed on the case. And
I can't wait for
actually
that to be
really
translated.
anticipating the English release of that book.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It
I don't
should be
think it's
coming
coming
out
till
later this month, I
fall.
believe.
Is it this month? I thought it was fall.
I think it's this month. I think it's June.
Oh, I'm so excited. I got to finish Danny Scherzen's book first, though.
So easy.
Yeah, from what
here in the United States, we have a very ambitious, rowdy support system that get out and protest in support of Julian. But over in Germany and in countries you wouldn't generally think of as involved in this case, right? You have the U.S., the U.K., and Australia. But there's a lot of EU member countries, Germany in particular, that have a very, very loud, vocal, continuous presence for over a year now protesting in support of Julian, if not longer, much longer. What do you think makes the people in Europe understand better, I guess, than the people in the United States, specifically Germany, about what Julian's case represents?
Yeah, we were talking about this a lot, and some people were saying maybe it's the German history because of the Nazis, and maybe German people are more susceptible for the rise of fascism, which is actually what we are fighting here. Because if you put a journalist into prison for just telling the truth, it's exactly that. It's the rise of authoritarianism and fascism. And maybe it's a reason that we have a history of that. But it's just guessing. I can't answer this question for sure. But anyway, I'm very happy about this because this is so important. I think the only thing that will save Julian is the actions from the people. We have to urge politicians. That's also what we try to talk about at our vigils. We try to inform people that they have to get active. They have to contact politicians. They have to contact media. They have to contact Amnesty for doing more, and all those organizations. So it's a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it. And,
yes, and Germany's been doing an amazing job for so long. And it's interesting that you say that maybe it's because you see the rise in fascism, and we talk about that all the time. And it's the same in the United States. We're seeing the exact same thing with Joe Biden. I mean, the anti-protest laws that he's coming out with and all of that. Is that something that Germany's also paying attention to and recognizing?
You mean Joe Biden and
how it's gotten really, really bad here recently?
Yes. Yeah, of course. I think all around the world you can see that, and also there are a lot of attacks on journalists, not only on Julian, but 2 years ago there was the raid of ABC and I think Annika Smethurst, and this is going on everywhere in every country, and but yes, of course, German people are aware of going on in other countries. And
No, yeah,
I
of
also-
course. Sorry, that probably came out wrong. I didn't mean it like that. No,
Yeah,
I didn't mean it
I
like, of
totally
course you're
didn't
paying
understand
attention.
what you
No,
meant. Sorry.
'cause I phrased that really poorly. 100%. I just meant more like is because to me it seems so obvious, but the people in the United States don't seem to be paying attention to it. Like we have people who think that Joe Biden's doing a great job, and we have people. Is it kind of I don't know if I'm making that make sense anymore. We just have a lot of people who are in a lot of denial about what's happening in our own country. Americans don't pay attention to what's happening in other countries either. I mean, that's kind of a sad fact, but a lot of people probably couldn't even place Germany on a map. So we're just like in this really sad state right now in this country.
Okay, yeah, I think now I understand what you were talking about.
I don't even know if I understand what I was talking about, Issy, to be honest. I really don't.
No, but I think it's also the same here. There are a lot of people not noticing what is going on and still believing everything is fine and we are just living in a democracy and la la la, everything is beautiful. But my feeling is that some people are waking up and it's beginning to change, but for me it's a little bit too slow. It should go faster, but yeah, sometimes then there is a crack or something and it's very fast, but I think we will have to still work on that.
So in a semi-related but unrelated topic, could you talk a little bit about the states of the lockdowns across Europe? Because here in the US we have a really mixed bag where you have some states that didn't do anything, right? You have two in particular that did almost nothing, but you have some states here in the U.S. that are still in full authoritarian lockdown mode. So could you talk a little bit about what's happening in Europe around that?
Yeah, I can talk about Germany, and here there is a situation. We will have elections in September. So there was a lockdown. They called it 2-week lockdown. It started in November and it went to June. 2-week lockdown. Okay. And now this is over. And yeah, but not fully, of course. But everybody is looking at the elections, and politicians want to seem nice and want to be elected. And so this is a little bit better right now, but it's only on the surface. Everybody knows it will be bad again in autumn, in fall, after the elections, and yeah, there will be demonstrations in August in Berlin, in August 1st and 29th of August, and there is also a movement against these measures, and there are also people, who are aware of what is happening here. But again, there are also a lot of people believing everything is okay, and it's everything is happening for a reason, and it has nothing to do with fascism also. And yeah, it still takes a while for people to wake up, I think. So, but I saw that in the US, it seems to be a little bit better, I think, because you don't have masks in many states. Is that right?
Yeah, it's like Andrew said, it is a very mixed bag. Like some states are on like still really heavy restrictions and there's, masks and all that stuff. Other states have been like no masks and very little restrictions for a long time. Like it's been kind of all over the board. So I think it is easing up a lot. Like I'm in Ohio, and it like recently they dropped the mask mandates and they, it's really kind of opened up a lot more. But again, that's like California is still super locked down. Is New York still super locked down? I don't remember. I know Florida's been like open this whole time.
Yeah, no, New York's still
the whole time.
Still locked down. New York,
Yeah,
York
the
and
whole
California
time
are
Florida's
still
been
very
open.
much-
They didn't really do much of anything.
I'm actually
Like spring break, there, like it was beaches were crowded, people were all over the place. So yeah, it's all over the board.
I muted myself to you guys, but not to the audience. Yeah, New York City still has a large lockdown order going on.
Dude. The mute, man.
I got two mute buttons I'm working with, and I'm trying to keep track of both of them.
It's just funny because it happens a lot, and it's one of those things that makes me giggle. You know, like jazz hands. That's all.
Oh, you have someone in chat calling you FBI, Misty.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Where?
But I wanna go through some pictures here real quick because I did some fun stuff over the
don't
weekend.
see it.
Should I share these? You think, Misty?
What?
The pictures from over the weekend, or not over the weekend, over the week that I did.
Oh, if you want, yeah.
So-
That'll inspire some people.
So Donald Trump is having his first rally around the corner from my house. His first rally since he lost his presidential election. And by around the corner from my house, I literally mean like at the fairgrounds in my county. So I took it upon myself to go out there. What night was this? One of the nights recently. I don't remember which one exactly. And I did what I do best. I walked around, and I don't think it's going to let me scroll. Let me go through this way. I went around and I put signs up on basically anything I could put a sign up on. I circled the entire grandstands area with signs. I went and did most of the bathroom areas as well. I did leaflet drop. So I'm excited. We got to represent at Donald Trump's last event, his Stop the Steal event on January 6th, right? And now we are back again at the very first event. So one of the things that I would really like to have happen, and not just with Trump events, but with every political event, is that we make our way there.
Yeah.
And we remind people what a larger fight that we're having is, and not this bullshit two-party, just ignore the bad shit the other guy does so my team can win system. So
How long did that take you, Andrew? Just curiously.
I got there at about 11 and I left about 3 o'clock in the morning. So it took me about 4 hours, and it was horrifying, right? Because there was no one there. I probably wasn't allowed to be there. The gates were just wide open, though, the front gate and the side
and
gate.
he's going to be there today, so I'm sure
Yeah.
that there's
Yeah.
some level of Secret Service walking around checking things out too. And,
Right, and that's
yeah.
what I figured. That's what I was expecting to walk in there with my paranoia all the way up and get in trouble as soon as I stepped foot in, but it was just dead silent about 36 hours beforehand. So I was.
Well, okay, so I'll tell the story like I always tell it. When we went to Westerville, Andrew went the night before the Democratic debate, and then I went the next day, and I'm walking through the streets of Westerville, and there's Free Assange posters like 15 feet up on a telephone pole. Dude's cruising around with a ladder in the middle of Westerville the night before the Democratic debate, spider monkeying Assange flyers on telephone poles. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm walking around. Well, I'm not doing that. How did he even get up there? I texted him.
I didn't bring the step ladder because I didn't know what I was actually walking into. So I wanted a travel light. I didn't want to have a step ladder and 3 bungee cords and the whole.
Well, and didn't you say you had a couple of friends with you too?
Back then, yeah.
Yeah. So that's helpful. Yeah. Doing that by yourself, chugging a ladder around, and your staple gun and your tape and your flyers and that's a lot.
So do you want to talk about Assange Week, Misty?
Yeah. Okay. So Assange Week starts tomorrow. It's going to go all the way through July 4th. There's whatever you want to do. You don't need permission. Stella released a video today. You don't need permission. If you want to start your own event, do it. Just even if it's you and a homie on a sidewalk with some signs, that's all it really takes. That's how you get started. I mean, look, Andrew just went and hung up flyers. Just do that, or go do the yellow ribbon thing, right? Free Assange or whatever on some yellow ribbons, go tie it around trees. There's tons of things that you can do. We really need more eyes on it. That's our biggest obstacle is that I think when most people see what's happening, it's very quickly to get them to understand how ridiculous and awful it is. But it's something that we need just more eyes on in general. So like create your own event, do it. I'm going to be in DC next week again. So the Home Run for Julian tour is kind of like colliding with Assange Week. The end of the Home Run tour and Assange Week are in the same week. So the Shiptons are coming to DC on June 30th, and they were just going to do the June 30th event. But we talked them into hanging out until July 1st so that we could do an event at the DOJ. So we'll be there from noon to 2 on Thursday, July 1st. And it'll be kind of like an early birthday / send off for John and Gabriel. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited. Cake. Steve's going to be there. Steve Poikinen, my friend Paul will be there. Like, we have a good crew there. I'm sure Franco will stop by because he's in DC. So yeah, if you can stop by that, definitely do. I know I'm forgetting stuff, Andrew. What else is going on?
For the first?
I feel like I think you're muted again, dude.
Oh my god, I'm done. For the first? I'm so tired, guys. Well, what I would like to recommend to everybody, do something at your communities for the July event. Figure out where it is.
Yeah.
Go out, pass out information there. Be your community's protest. Put flyers up if you want. Hand them out, what have you.
Take a sign to your like little picnic and like put it out, like stand it up on your picnic basket. Take some flyers to hand out in case, or like, hey, ask me about Assange, whatever. Like, if you're going to be in a parade, try to sneak like a free Assange something on your like little sign or whatever, because there's a lot of parades happening. That would be dope. We should get in our local parades, man.
That would be cool.
Why didn't we ever think of that?
Because we have a million other things happening.
That's a great idea, though. If we could get into our local parades.
But easy.
That's hundreds of people.
I do want to thank you very much for joining us. I'm sorry we kind of dragged on a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
But if you could give people some final thoughts, some events that are happening over in the Germany EU area, and where people can find you and your work.
Right back.
Yeah, sure. So I just mentioned the website, and every event is listed on the website. So if you want to do anything around Germany, just take a look on it, and you will find a city near you can go to. And what is also happening, the book of Nils Melzer is being sent to the International. It's an action of the Cologne people, and they sent about 25 books to different groups of Amnesty International and trying to make them move and do more than they are doing now. So, and this is all you can do. If you have some money left, not anyway, you can send to someone who think you should have the book. So. Of course, it's available in English. I think it will be around spring next year only, but you should have the book. You can still do it. And also for inspiration for other actions, you can look on the website. There is a lot of info also in English. So it's not only in German. If you can have a look at it, and I think you will find many interesting things and actions there. And just also you can write us an email. It's info@freeassange.de. And if you want to have any info or just want to know what is going on, just write us and we will answer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You guys have been just seriously kicking ass, though. We've been bragging about you for a while now, because I mean, like, there's weekly actions in some cities, there's bi-weekly actions in other cities, and they've been doing this for a long time. And that's the kind of support that we need to see popping up all over the place. So thank you for leading the way. Seriously, I know that sounds corny, but you guys are really doing a great job.
Yeah, thank you for doing the vigil. I think the online vigils are as important and probably more important as we reach more people. So I think we are just a team, and everybody does what he can. So
very true. Very true.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about what you guys have going on, because it's that was cool. So yeah, we'll talk to you again soon. Yeah.
See you soon. Have a
Yep,
great day.
thank you.
and
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Okay.
Jesse Jet, how are you, buddy?
Jesse Jet.
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're going to have some fun today.
Exhausted.
Oh man, right? Yeah, today that song's already gotten out of hand. It's hilarious. It really
People are
is.
freaking, and you know what makes me laugh the hardest is that, okay, so there's like a lot of people who are like, coming like just how dare you criticize Chelsea Manning, and then so like I'll go look just curious, go look and like do an advanced search on their timeline, and they've mentioned Chelsea like twice in 5 years or some shit.
Yeah.
Like shut the fuck up, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's unbelievable. Like, don't use this shit for your own little bolt, like your nonsense. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. But just
Well, and
the
that's what
larger
makes
thing
it-
in
that's-
general. Go ahead.
That's what stings so much. Is it wasn't Ken Klippenstein saying, "I think I'm a better journalist or more trustworthy source than Julian Assange." It's Chelsea managing to simultaneously lift him up and kind of disregard that Julian's still going through what she went
tortured
through. You know,
right now,
she of
today.
all people knows what that's like.
That's what I'm saying. The timing of it.
To just kind of. That's what was so mind blowing. And again,
it's painful. Seriously, it's painful.
Maybe this is an example of the downside of writing and recording exclusively on my phone in my car, because I can complete a song while I'm still mad. That's probably not the best thing to do, you know? There isn't like some first draft. I shout my lyrics down and I write them and then I go and I do it, you know?
Right.
So that's what hurt the most, was that Chelsea Manning would just kind of, I mean, again,
be so dismissive. That's to me. It seems
Julian
it's
Assange
really
like
disrespectful to me. Just because of the timing, he's being tortured right fucking now, right now. Like, okay, and I don't know why she did it. I don't know why she would say something like that. I don't know why. And I vacillate between being angry with her and then angry at The Intercept for choosing to use that quote as like a promotional thing, and because they knew exactly what the fuck they were doing. They knew and they're trash. The Intercept is trash. And that's what another thing that boggles my mind is that they fucking outsources. They have burned so many sources. It's like a known thing, and that's who you're gonna go talk to. And please, if you're a whistleblower, stay the fuck away from The Intercept. Please stay the fuck away from The Intercept. Like the fact that she would go and say that to Ken Klippenstein, who works for The Intercept on The Intercept show, is mind-boggling to me. It is mind-boggling to me. And listen,
and
I'm
again,
angry and
I'm
like
sure
passionate.
Julian Assange would love to hear that you would, you know, do things differently, and he'd get to spend time with his fucking family. Like it's so
it's almost
so
like
infuriating.
backhanded. Oh, it's just and listen, I'm angry right now, and I'm very passionate about this. And don't fucking come for me. I have supported Chelsea consistently all the time. I you know, like like I'm not coming for her because you know, I'm not a supporter, or that. No, I'm pissed off that this, you know, this is something she talks about solidarity all the time. Where's your fucking solidarity for Julian Assange?
Thank you.
Like he's being tortured. I mean, I don't know why I have to say this out loud. Like that's what's so hurtful to me, is that right now his life is on the fucking line, and you're choosing to make like petty and snide comments to Ken fucking Klippenstein. Like that's not helpful. How does that help? Like, and even if you have a problem with him, even if you're 100% justified in, you know, being pissed off at him, or now's not the fucking time. Now is not the time. His life is literally hanging in the balance, and not just that, the future of press freedom in general. Like this isn't just about Julian either.
And
it's so much. And Ken Klippenstein's a fucking journalist, and you can't stand up for Julian Assange and press freedom, and you're gonna make snarky side ass comments at me on Twitter. Grow the fuck up, dude. You're supposed to be a national security reporter. Well, then prove it. Cover fucking Julian Assange. You haven't mentioned him in like 2 years.
I don't think the content of the interview was bad. Like it just kind of seemed like a lighthearted "how you doing." But the fact that it's with The Intercept is what bothers me. A company that puts more money into Bellingcat than the British government does. And then Bellingcat brags about it like, no, we don't serve the British, we serve this pretend outlet that acts like they're doing adversarial journalism. Right? Like you open up that thing from The Intercept, like that interview, And the very first thing is like, we're going for blood of Joe Biden. Like, we're not backing down. After Glenn Greenwald had to fucking leave the place because they wouldn't let him publish an article leading up to a presidential election about the pedophilia of the Biden family. But they're fighting back.
Yeah, they're trash. The Intercept is trash. I don't know why this is even a conversation we have to have on the left. Like, they are trash. They are propagandists. They are you kidding? Bellingcat. Like, really? Oh, this is painful, you guys. It's painful that this is something we have to even have a conversation about.
Like, my wife tries to keep a safe distance from my music, and she asked briefly this morning as she was going to work. She was like, "So what was your new piece about?" And I explained about Chelsea's quote and why it rubbed so many people the wrong way. And I talked about Ken Klippenstein being so not just ignorant of assisting Julian, but smug about it. That's what gets me. And my wife goes, "Well, wait. I mean, he's a journalist. Wouldn't press freedom be important to him?" And I said, "Exactly. There you go. See, you get it."
You would fucking think. That's what boggles my brain. And I've said this a million times.
I was so mad, and I immediately started writing a few lines down. And I was like, you know what? For this song, I want a beat that feels like just some early 90s hit piece, you know? And especially because if I lean into something that almost feels a little bit of a parody in terms of the track, it's that much better to watch people right now that are spazzing out about the song. Like, look at this guy making nerd rap guy. And I love that all they can do. There are a few major accounts that usually troll other worthier people like Rome and stuff that have decided to show me some love today and retweet that song. And everyone's just like, Hamilton. That's the one thing you hear so much is Lin-Manuel Miranda, which I couldn't sit through 30 seconds of Hamilton. So obviously everyone else is a bit more well-versed in it that wants to throw that at me. But you know what? If I have to be compared to Lin-Manuel Miranda my whole life so that the next generation of spoken word political artists can maybe be compared to me, it's a chance I'm willing to take. I'll take that sector.
Or that those spoken word artists even have the ability to be spoken word artists. I mean, free speech is fully under attack right now.
Yep.
And, you know, y'all are making it about some petty ass dumb shit.
Thing is, this would have been something I could have ignored had it not been for what Ken said to you recently. The fact that he would go out of his way to just be like, I'm ignoring him just to irk you Assange supporters. That always sat with me poorly. And
the fact that I had to ask him
like, you know
why
what?
he wasn't covering it is a problem.
I think
are you a journalist?
He's not covering it is the Bellingcat money. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you have private security exposed on the table, right? Like, UC Global is getting fucking bent over in Spanish court right now, to the point that the U.S. government, that the British government didn't let Craig Murray go to Spain to testify and just happened to line his case up with.
They're refusing to cover the OPCW. They're denigrating the whistleblowers from the OPCW. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The Intercept is, I'm going to say it again, they're trash. They're garbage. They are terrible. If you're a whistleblower, please stay the fuck away from the Intercept.
The Intercept's the people that sold out Reality Winner that got her put in jail for absolutely no fucking reason.
Absolutely no reason whatsoever. Yeah. Yes, that's what I think. I think the Intercept connection is what makes it like just that much more. That's what really gets me fired up about it, because they are unbelievably atrocious. And you know, Ken Klippenstein. Again, I shouldn't have to ask you to cover Julian Assange. You're a journalist and you consider yourself a national security reporter, and you're not going to cover Julian Assange. Like what? Hello.
Well, I'm going to send him. So he put his signal number out right in that interview.
Yeah, he did.
And
and that's another thing. That's another thing. These people use Signal as like their secure box, like their Dropbox. Really, dude? Come on. Don't go to the Intercept, y'all.
But I'm gonna send him the pictures of the stuff I did at the Trump rally and see if you can't give him a little redeeming grace and being like, Trump overshadowed by prosecution of Julian or something. I'm assuming they won't, but I'm gonna send it there just for my own entertainment and see what they do.
I'm not even asking for that much. Just mention it. Jesus fucking Christ.
Today marked my official level up because I earned the badge of unhinged Assange cultist.
Oh,
that,
welcome!
I know you and I share that one now. I know you've been in that
I'm the
club for a
leader.
minute, so
I'm
it's-
the cult leader.
Right?
You didn't know? That's the big thing. That was
So
a big
that was
thing.
nice.
See, they cycle through insults, and so like that was the cult leader was a big one for a while, and then they'll move on to something else. But yeah, I'm the
luckily,
Assangeist
I've been
cult
on
leader.
Twitter long enough now to know that like if I wait a day and a half, it's done. You know, so it's not really anything to worry about.
Well,
But
and who gives a
it's
shit?
fun. Last night it was like 3 a.m, I think, when I finished the song, and I posted it and went to sleep. And it's one of those where I just know I get to wake up and see like this wildfire, and it was so
Just
good.
ignore
It was
it.
so good to wake up.
Yeah,
and see
I
that.
just
It was
like I
awesome.
try my best to just ignore it. Every once in a while, I get pulled into it, but for the most part, I try to just ignore it, or I'll make like a couple snarky comments and I'm out. Because these, like, listen, these people are not legit. Like I said, these are people who, like, if you go check their Twitter feed, they don't talk about Chelsea Manning. They don't give a shit. They're using it now for Twitter to try to score Twitter points on people that they don't like, and it's gross. And I don't give a shit what those people have to say. Like, you're do nothing trolls. I don't care. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna speak out when something bothers me, and I don't give a shit if you like me or not. I really don't. You know, so I don't, you know, just don't bother yourself with it. Just try to ignore it the best you can, because like I have a shit ton of people muted.
This is really good. This is really good promotion to get people to come listen to the Tara Reid piece. You know?
No, but I mean, but your song is justified. Like, it's 100% justified. It was fucked up to say stuff like that and then to promote it the way that they did. The fact that she's going on the Intercept, like, that's all very troubling. And listen, this is, if you've been paying attention, Chelsea Manning has like been like we've been holding our tongues for a while, because I mean, she's kind of gone the way of like standing the squad and you know, like being kind of a vote blue no matter who person and all of that stuff. And we just, like, out of respect, and we just didn't say anything, and like, we get it. And I still have a ton of admiration and respect for what she did. I have no respect for like shitting on Julian, though. I just don't. It's not necessary. Like, no, it's not necessary. Her bad faith interview was like pretty troubling. It's unfortunate, but you know, I have no respect whatsoever for the Intercept. Nobody should. Nobody should. You don't get to burn that many sources and still be considered credible.
The surface level takeaway people seem to have is that I'm advocating for Ken Klippenstein to be in prison for the rest of his life.
Oh my God.
Which shows that that's what they're getting at, you know, which again, I couldn't get past the like acting as though that would be some honor she'd be blessing him with, A, that he would have the chutzpah to go through with it.
Never.
B, and thank you, which is what a lot of people immediately said.
Never.
I get there's I'm gonna have an aneurysm if I
I just dropped the link in chat for everybody.
For what?
For the
the
interview, 'cause it's an
podcast
audio piece. We can't really play it here.
Yeah.
I put it in there for everyone.
No, I mean.
Yeah, fuck the Intercept. Like, I don't necessarily think it was Chelsea who got to pick to use that particular quote. So I personally don't see it as her like attacking Julian.
It's still kind of a shitty thing to say, Andrew. It's a shitty thing to say.
But the elephant in the room is Julian. Like, if you listen to the interview, they talk about everything that Chelsea went through, which is super important, which is really, really
100%.
big. But they don't.
Which is all the more reason she should stick up for him.
Which is the part that I found troubling. Because like, it's
very
one
telling
thing for these pieces of shit, right?
And that's what. Yeah, it's like the Intercept is using one whistleblower to attack Julie. You know what I mean? Like they're using her as like this weapon against Julie.
Indirectly,
with her inherent consent or anything. I think that's just the way that they are trying to make it look, because they're the daddy bears of Bellingham.
And they have a big enough platform to do it. So
Well, this is
it's just really frustrating,
right? Of them getting just dragged through the mud for the last 2 months by every reporter.
Because they're trash.
Right.
Yeah,
so
they're
I
trash.
think this is them trying to like save face.
It's gross, though.
Yeah.
Fucking Klippenstein, dude. You're gross.
Yeah.
I mean, yuck. It's sad. It's kind of pathetic.
Popping in and out on us, by the way, Jesse. I'm just saying.
Oh.
My what?
Your camera.
I don't know if you can switch it to like low bandwidth video or something, but it keeps dropping and then coming back a minute or two later. Not a big deal. I was just letting you know.
Listen, Ken, you're never going to be even a fraction of the journalist that Julian Assange is. You're just not, dude.
And that's the thing, like,
I would like them to do more reporting on the Snowden archive instead of just fucking retiring it after less than.
Well, I'd like them to not be
that
fucking
indirect dismissal.
Yeah. It's just Seriously, it just
It's like,
makes me so
no,
angry.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that I wish it was Ken Klippenstein instead of Julian Assange. I'm saying that I don't think Ken Klippenstein would have gone through with that based
And then
off
Julian
of
wouldn't be
who
trashing
he answers
him.
to.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Well,
That's the thing.
I
Is
don't think someone
Julian
that
would be
funds
doing everything in his power to
would ever
advocate for
be
a
in
journalist that
position
was in
to have
prison.
to go to jail, right? Like someone that is one of the main contributors to Bellingcat probably isn't going to have to worry, because when they publish a story, it'll be like the fucking Pentagon Papers at Amazon, where it's used to benefit someone politically rather than exposing the truth for the meaning of truth. And to that point, I literally just say again, Joe or Hunter Biden's fucking laptop, where Glenn
well,
Greenwald
Jesse's
wasn't
right.
allowed
Jesse's
to expose
100%
pedophilia.
right. It's not even about you wanting Ken to go to prison. It's about the fact that A, he wouldn't do it, and B, if he did, Julian Assange would be doing everything he possibly could to fight for Ken Klippenstein. He wouldn't be throwing shade at him, and that's even with a difference of opinion. Julian Assange has proven that time and time again. He's always tried to do that with other people, and
Even
so
with
fuck
Reality
you
Winner,
going
like a
after a fellow
whistleblower
journalist.
Like,
He exposed war crimes, and you're like throwing him under the bus. And do you not give a shit about the future of your profession, homie? I guess I shouldn't even call it your profession though, because you're just a paid mouth. Like you're just a propagandist. Like you write what you're told. I mean, that's why you haven't mentioned Julian.
Which is why
so there's the propagandists like Rachel Maddow.
No, you're right. They are worse.
Millions of dollars to do what they're doing, and then there's the people like The Intercept that pay Bellingcat to be able to keep doing what they're doing, which I think is a distinctly different thing. Because you have one being paid by the intelligence community and you have the other one funding it, an adversarial journalism institution funding and getting workshops from Bellingcat, from Bellingcat. Like that's the end of the line. Like you're no longer a journalistic institution, you're an arm of the national security state, no matter how much you ask for money.
Yeah, and if you're out there pretending like you stand against Empire and you're siding with like Ken Klippenstein and The Intercept, you've lost the plot. You've lost the fucking plot. I mean,
that's why in that piece, and of course I'll play it as well. But that's why I said let's pretend that he and Ken could swap for just a minute, and let's pretend that Ken could find the guts within himself to speak on something vital with no chance of going viral and share a truth whose clout reroutes him right into a cell. That's I think
I love that
the takeaway
line.
of a lot of people was that to assume that Ken would get to that precipice and go like, yes, I'm going to go forward with this because it's important, even though it's going to ruin me. I don't think he would.
He's a shit poster. Like that's
when somebody did and they're still paying for it and you were tortured in the same way, you should understand that and stand up for him. I'm sorry, one moment. I need to check on my little one.
You're fine. Everybody just left me, you guys. What the fuck is that shit? Did you guys just see that? Seriously. Everybody just left me here all by myself. The Queen of Awkward has just been left alone in front of a camera. What the fuck is happening? Anyways, you guys know that like me being pissed off is not coming from like a bad or wrong place. Like I legitimately and it broke my fucking heart. And again, like we saw it coming. Like I saw this coming. I saw Chelsea like going down a certain path or whatever, but it's not like I wasn't fully aware of like, you know, all of that stuff. Like I kind of saw what come, but that doesn't mean that it sucks any worse. And again, the timing of it and the fact that his brother and his father have been trekking across the United States trying to garner support for him. And he's going to spend his 3rd birthday now at Supermax prison, his 50th birthday. And then we're going to like make petty comments to Ken Klippenstein about this dude who's being tortured. Like it's a slow motion execution. And where's your solidarity? This is not okay. It's just not okay. It just pisses me off. And by the way, now that both of you are back, thank you for leaving the Queen of Awkward in front of the camera by myself.
You're welcome.
The fuck was that? Like you got up and walked away, and then Jesse's like, "Hold on, I gotta go check on my kid."
God
Solo.
damn it.
I have no idea what I just said.
I fucking forgot to hit go live again on Rockfin.
Oh no!
But we're live
Andrew,
on
you're
Rockfin now. Thank you for the reminder, Mad Mom and On. I appreciate it.
You know, YouTube shut us off 30 seconds in.
I had it all set up. I just didn't hit start.
Oh, I don't know.
That's a song I like to just sing right behind somebody at work at about 9:30, and then see how many people are singing it at like 1 when you come back by. Song spreads like wildfire.
We have a game at work where you just say the first few words of a song and then see who picks it up. You'll be like, look at this! And then someone else will just be like, oh!
That's awesome.
It's great.
That's funny. Okay, so do you want to play this thing, my friend?
I do, yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Don't just fucking chill out. Yes, it's angry. It should be angry. This is an expression of anger. So, like, a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, he's so mean." Just chill the fuck out. Like, we have a right to be angry. Yeah. You know, it's okay. It's
as I said in Militia Intent, welcome to the fantasy of rhetoric. This is one of my last times to get to just say something with my quote unquote free speech, and the only thing I have to worry about is my mentions. Hence the first line of this song. This is Sources. First off, just for me, RIP my mentions. I'm here to paint a picture of an alternate dimension where Julian Assange is being showered with affection and Ken fucking Klippenstein's in infinite detention. Now pardon me as I proceed to beat the horse senseless regarding how the formerly respected Chelsea Manning swiftly managed backhanding those supporting press freedom at its most defenseless by spewing out the most egregious bloated piece of flattery I think I've ever witnessed. Acting like she would have chosen Ken to bear the honor of the documents Assange is being tortured over. Like Ken Klippenstein needs another good reason to go stimulate his own self-interest. Like a couple whistleblowers haven't gotten poached from off the list where he does all his business. Like Julian Assange didn't do the fucking work and put America's collateral berserk right in the forefront of your vision. So all you do in muting him to lift another up is just a willful exercise to see his sacrifice diminished. And let's pretend that he and Ken could swap for just a minute. Let's pretend that Ken could find the guts within himself to speak on something vital with no chance of going viral and share a truth whose clout reroutes him right into a cell. And that smug motherfucker gets to spend a lonely decade being painted as a criminal while languishing in hell. Occupying Belmarsh with a photo of his wife and 2 kids, one of which he's never got a chance to hold himself. So pardon me, but I'm about to kill the beat and beat the horse to glue. I can tell you Julian Assange would not be shitting on the activists who asked him if he'd advocate for you. Julian Assange would not be arrogantly turning from the mounting waves of censorship that seek to drown you too. So while I got the time to say fuck Klippenstein, I'll throw in a fuck Chelsea, and then I'm through. I still stand by it.
You should. And I love it at the end of the recording.
And I'll do it again.
Yeah. Yes.
If you wanted to know why I took the time to do this, Ken, it's just to make you mad.
Yeah, because that, just so everybody knows that, which I love you for throwing that in there, just as like a nod to me. But the fact that that's your response to an Assange activist,
when you said why won't
this?
You speak up for Julian Assange when it's so vital to your job and our freedom? And he said, just to make you mad.
Just to make you
mad. And a whole
mad.
bunch of people leapt on that because it's more important to troll someone fighting for free speech than to stand up and fight for free speech for a lot of these people. So if all those people can only take away from the song is some surface level Hamilton comparison and me thinking that I want Ken Klippenstein to rot in prison, then I'm not going to waste the time to argue with those people. Because I don't have it.
Somebody said I was performatively angry today. Like, this is not performative. Trust me. I wish this never fucking happened. Yep. I do not care. Like, you're just doing this for clout, and you're just doing this for. Somebody said I'm doing it for money. Y'all, my channels aren't even monetized. Like, what are you talking about? Like, none of them. Like, what are you talking about? Same, right? This is not about that. I'm like genuinely like a range of emotions. I'm seriously depressed, and I'm hurt, and I'm frustrated, and I'm pissed off. And I'm disgusted and I'm frustrated. And, you know, we're in like this, it's crunch time, y'all. Like Julian Assange is not doing well. He's not doing well. He's in horrendous conditions. There's no like end for him. There's no, we don't even know when the appeal is going to be heard. Like it just, whenever, there's no deadline. It just maybe one day. So he's like just sitting there in limbo in this unbelievably like horrific, just dungeon of a prison. It's the Gitmo of the UK. And then we're going to make snide comments to shitty journalists from like trash publication. Like it's just the timing of it and all of it. It's so frustrating because we've been fighting for so long and so hard, and we are just starting to crack through, and we're just starting to see more support grow, and we're just starting to see more groups pop up. And like we just talked to EC earlier, Germany's killing it, and like they're setting this just amazing example. And then to just shit on Julian Assange, and for the Intercept to use this statement from Chelsea as like this way to take a shot at Assange is fucking gross, you Bellingcat trolls. Like it's just, and and a lot of the Jesse, a lot of the people that are going to be pissed off at you are Bellingcat trolls. So that's why it's best to just ignore it. Like it's their little troll farms and their little bot farms. Like I'm like they like to try to pretend like I have, like somebody said, oh, you're going to send all your followers for Ken Klippenstein. Bitch, I'm some like chick in Ohio. I don't have like people to send after you. Like my trolls have said that too, that I sent Magnus after them. I don't send anybody after you. Nobody asked him to respond to my tweet. Like he's the one that responded to my tweet. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like
time out of his day to not cover the biggest event in fucking
to come after me, and it's not the first time. This dude loves to shit post. He loves to punch down. He's he's a douche canoe. You come for me. I don't give a fuck because I feel very comfortable about where I stand, what I'm fighting for, and who I am. You know what I mean? Like so, that's it. It's just dumb. It's dumb, and I'm really angry that we even have to deal with this, especially right now. I mean, the timing could not be worse.
Right.
We're heading into Assange week.
Tour. They didn't. Ryan Grimm appeared in video, like, thank you for showing up, but appeared in video. And then they didn't talk about it. They're not opening every one of their articles with, hey, Julian Assange's father is touring the country. Please get out in support of him. They're opening all of their articles with something they learned in a Bellingcat workshop while they're one of the biggest
Did they even
funders.
cover the event that Ryan Grimm showed up on video? Did they even cover?
I'm not sure if they did or not. I can't give them that. But I know
the fact that
when
we don't know that
they say that they support adversarial journalism, but then censor the fuck out of Glenn Greenwald and ask for donations so they don't seem like they're billionaire funded.
Trash Aaron Mate and denigrate whistleblowers from the OPCW. And they're legit. It's fine. Don't worry
one
about
of the
it.
heaviest hitters on debunking Russiagate, and you're going to try to drag him through the mud
That's
while
why.
ignoring the biggest story about WikiLeaks, literally under the first release not under Julian's control, which counters a false flag and tries to prevent future war. You're not going to talk about that.
No. And Ken Klippenstein said it because it was boring.
Right,
Russiagate was boring.
Yep.
It's boring, guys. We can't talk about that. We can't talk about this unbelievably
and then
ridiculous conspiracy theory.
It was either Jimmy or Aaron that brought up Bellingcat's piece that the Intercept is running with. How, like, yes, there may have been some stuff that was fake. Like, yes, the hospital thing didn't actually happen. And, like, this is boring, but, like, something, gas canisters, look at the UN. That's their official line on Syria.
Yeah. No, seriously, again, they're trash. Like, and that's, you want to come for me, Ken Klippenstein? Like, and then people be like, oh, he ratioed you. Y'all, he has how many more followers than we did? Of course he did.
Exactly.
Like, that's no win.
Good for
really,
you.
it's his win. Good for you, Ken. Way to go. You ratioed an activist from Ohio who's fighting for press freedom.
Now you've got something to brag about when we're all in the gulag together. Like, there's your good claim to fame.
Yeah, that'll be fun. You can sing that song for him.
Before I go, I have a piece I'd like to read real quick.
Okay.
It's actually the first thing I wrote after the domestic violent extremist list came out. And I was like, oh, cool, I'm in danger.
We're so fucked.
It's like, you can't say anything about being a terrorist. And I heard a song, an At the Drive-In song, actually mentioned Kent State. I was thinking about what a massive deal that was at the time and how many activists get injured, maimed, or murdered now on a regular basis. And it's like some people don't even get to know about it because the news doesn't talk about it, much less it become a major, focal point in American history. So this is called Kent State Engaged. It feels like every other day is Kent State, and we're the people watching from the safety of the gate, muttering repeatedly, we're gonna be okay. Little did we know our fate was forged and on its way. Little did we know our last names were on a collar with a binary chain. And little did we know they're only working through the A's. So at most we've only got a couple days of listening to all those precious freedoms fade away. Watching all our neighbors learn in real time how they never really had them anyway. Watching as we occupy ourselves, and you can try to occupy yourself, but eventually you're gonna have to reckon the embarrassment of seeing that the terrorists were speaking perfect English and they looked just like yourself. They could smell a power trip distinctly American. You could hear the hate in their voices so well. You recognized the boots when they pressed into your face and the sweet familiar taste of the composite shell. And suddenly the film decides to pause itself. Suddenly the animals that wither in your cage would sooner claw themselves. Suddenly they start to see a fascist is a fascist and it doesn't fucking matter what they call themselves. Suddenly we start to see the colors are irrelevant. Suddenly the film is turning black and white and all the red and blue feels just as far away and long ago as civil rights. And suddenly it's Groundhog Day on the Kent State firing line. And you're a student holding up a picket sign. You're the dying breed before a generation born with all its senses in the sand unless it's dinner time. A generation undereducated in the hopes that their capacity for questioning their station might be minimized. A generation dancing to the same song witnessed by a million eyes. A generation struggling to save itself when all our means to aid ourselves were weaponized. Poverty was branded on our skin and we were tased or made to step aside. Kettled into gutters and the ruling class is laughing as they pass us by. A ruling class of warped, perverted sadists so empowered by our capitalist system their humanity is impossible to recognize. So fattened off our taxes and our blood and our misfortune that they'll never die. They'll be comfy somewhere else that Bezos terraformed and colonized when Earth is sunken under waves of human refuse and we all get left behind, terrified. Our first mistake was standing by and watching human suffering incentivized. The last of our mistakes was probably painted on a sign at Kent State that never made it past the censor's eyes. Shouted down to ashes under angry crowds of Semper Fi. So when it's on your block, your only option might be frozen to the spot and truly petrified. Like you heard the first shot at Kent State and it went through your sign. So tell the founding fathers that we sing the songs of patricide, chanted out in triplicate, unanimously ratified.
Damn, dude. That was powerful. How many words is that too? Like that's a long, like that's one of your longer ones, isn't it? Like longish?
Actually, no. I think it's about half the length of like Conviction. I think it's only around 450 maybe.
Maybe that's just because it like
it
that
was
felt
420 and I was happy with that.
You squeezed a lot into it. So. I think that's what. Like that. Yeah, my brain was racing.
Oh yeah, sorry. I meant to send you text first. Yeah.
No, that's probably why. That's probably why I'm feeling because I didn't have words to read. I'm such a dork. Can't figure it out. I can't just listen.
Whoa! Hey, everybody.
Hello.
How you doing?
This is like a very nice flowing show. Like guest one, guest two. You know what I mean? Like,
we're doing good today.
It's like very professional, other than my ranting.
Well, I'm gonna have to be off camera because I'm in the car. So
no, you're good.
My cat is scaling the sliding glass door curtains right now.
Like on the screen.
Mine's on the couch.
No, like this kind of like it's like the thing that goes in front. There's like two different layers to it, and it's like in between trying to scale it.
Brody, look up.
What?
Brody.
What are you pointing at? Oh yeah, I saw your cat earlier when you left me alone. I saw that, Jesse. I saw your cat. I saw when you left me alone, when you got up and left me all alone.
It's getting graphic over here.
There's a cat laying over here, but you can't see it.
So I shot the link to Jordan too. But you guys, Josh, have a super awesome event happening with the home run tour.
Jesse, do you need to bounce before we get into too much?
I actually do, yeah, unfortunately. Thank you guys for having me, especially in such a tiny window. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was nice to have somebody to rant with. Andrew's too calm.
You're the man.
Hey, thank you, bud. Bye, guys.
Yep. You are no fun to rant with, Andrew, just so you know.
That's why I haven't been on Bitch yet, because I'm just really bad at it.
No, you can't come on Bitch. You're too nice. You and Pasta
I will
are just too
be
nice.
Sober one day and come on Bitch. How about that? And then I'll rant a whole lot.
Okay, because you're just way too nice and calm. Like we need rage-filled and frustrated, and that's what Bitch is about, fam. Okay, so yeah, you guys do have. I'm gonna be at your event actually.
Oh shit! That's
the
awesome.
one on the 1st, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. I'm so glad you're going to be there. So is
I'm
Steve,
excited.
actually.
I know. We're already making plans.
Oh my god. But yeah, that's going to be it's going to be a pretty cool event. We're going to be meeting at 12 p.m. at the Department of Justice at 950 Pennsylvania Avenue. And yeah, we're just going to be making noise for Assange. Gabriel Shipton and John Shipton, Julian Assange's brother and dad, will both be there, which is great. I'm so glad they're going to be making their last stop with us, and hopefully we'll make it good.
Yeah, and I'm really excited. It's kind of like an early birthday. I was talking about it earlier. It's kind of like an early birthday celebration / send off for the Shiptons
Right.
as they head back overseas. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm glad we were able to put it together. Thank you guys for getting everything on the ground going, and I'm really excited. I'm going to drive down Wednesday, and then yeah, Thursday's the event. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
I'm
Yeah,
pumped
I'm
too
super
because
excited.
it's like Gabriel and John are going to literally be outside of the Department of Justice. Like,
Yes.
that's fucking
Yeah.
fire. Like, those men are so goddamn brave. Like, I am so, like, just to have gotten to do an event for them is awesome. And then being
Yeah.
able to see them outside
It is an
of
honor,
the DOJ in downtown DC, I think is crazy.
And they were on Jimmy Dore last night and crushed it. Like, if you don't know, John Shipton has like a pretty wicked sense of humor, apparently. And he got a little dig in on Cenk Uygur, which I thought was super hilarious.
Oh no, I missed it.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. He's got like a wicked smart sense of humor. So remember when he called Krish Mohan a hoot? Still makes me giggle. Somebody, please. I will pay you. We need a little Krish Mohan owl.
Get Steve's
One that looks like
caricature artist.
Okay.
Whoever, I don't
but
know
we
who it is, and I can't volunteer somebody, but
no, you just
like,
did
get
kind
that
of.
one guy I don't know.
Okay, but really though, I need like a little owl that looks like Krish Mohan on a shirt that says he's a hoot. Krish Mohan, he's a hoot. That's what I need. I need it in my life, you guys. Somebody please help me. I'm not an artist in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
I just
neither
need
am
somebody.
I.
No, not even almost.
We
I
gotta
can do
get
stick
Steve
figures.
Cutler live. Steve Cutler live can hook us up.
Okay, and somebody, I'm willing to pay you. Like, I'll pay you. We need shirts. I need a shirt. Krish Mohan needs a shirt. I'll wear it everywhere. We need shirts.
Hey, Jordan,
I
how
agree.
are you?
Hi, Jordan.
So Jordan.
Hi. It's good to see you, girl. I feel like I haven't seen you in ages.
You're coming to DC, so that's awesome.
I am. Oh, yeah, you are a little, what's the word? Glitchy?
That's fine.
Copy.
Yeah.
That's fair. That was my worry in the first place, but I was like, oh, but here we go. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I am coming to DC. I'm very excited. I should get in Wednesday. It just depends on what time I get my ass moving. So it takes me 6 hours to drive. I'm doing a boomerang trip, so I'm just going to drive down Wednesday, crash, do the event, and then drive right back. So,
Damn.
yeah. Hey, you got to do what you got to do, you know?
Yeah.
I was able to, took some finagling. Paula's the one that asked me. She's like, please, please, please come. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying. Because I have kids, so it's hard sometimes to find babysitters. But yeah, I was able to work it out between my husband and both my mother-in-law and my mother. We were able to work it out, so I can make it happen, and I'm excited. If you're anywhere near the DC area, please come and hang out with us.
So we have
Yes,
people
please.
in the chat asking a question about the title of the show. I updated the title, but it didn't come through because I updated it late. The reference to the High Court has not yet set a date. That is from a Craig Murray article that was published last week that we covered on Tuesday. It's on Consortium News, so I'll pull it up and drop it in chat for everyone.
It's definitely it's Craig Murray.
But just for a little where we're at, I guess, the UK High Court still has not said whether or not they are even going to let the United States appeal or accept their appeal. So it's literally just hardcore legal limbo.
Yes.
And in comparison,
Which is another form of torture, by the way.
Yes.
That's another form of torture. Like throwing somebody in essentially solitary confinement with no known date of any, like you have no idea what's happening or if there's ever going to be any relief or if there, you know what I mean? That is a form of torture, just so everybody's aware.
It's also known as kidnapping, you know?
Yes.
No, yeah.
I mean, listen, they ruled against extradition on the grounds that he is a suicide risk and his mental health concerns, right? Okay. But they're keeping him in the conditions that caused him to be that way in the first place. It doesn't make any sense. Like, at the very least, just let him go. Let him go. Let him sit on house arrest or whatever until the appeal process runs through. The reason they're not doing that is because punishment is the process, and it's disgusting. And I wish more people would speak out against it. What's happening to him is not okay. And it shouldn't matter if you like him or not, which still baffles me when people say that, because I've never met him. Don't know, don't care, you know?
We have no allegiance to the guy. We just
No.
care about the principle of what they're trying to do.
Yes. Yeah. And if they can do it to him, they'll do it to anybody. I mean, they are doing it to other people.
Yeah, we actually, I have Kara Castronova scheduled for 2 Tuesdays from now to talk specifically about what they are doing to political prisoners here in the United States right now, because they're essentially being held in Julian's same sort of confinement, but it's domestically, if not worse. Like, even with Joshua Schultz, a pretrial detainee that literally has to shit in a bag and wait outside in a dog cage that's 6x6 for 5 to 7 hours just to be able to meet with his family.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
it's only going to get worse, too.
Yep.
They just get more and more emboldened the longer
First
we don't
it's
speak
Julian
up.
Assange, next it's going to be the independent journalist, and then it's just going to be the everyday person who wants to speak out against their whatever.
Look at the DVE thing. They're already trying, like, Joe Biden's getting ready to write another another fucking crime bill, essentially.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what I mean?
There's calls to arrest Alex Jones now by, like, I know there's always
What?
been, but like ones that are more serious. And I stood in front of that motherfucker 2 years ago and told him, if you do not stand up for Julian, you will be the next one in jail. And it is literally a matter of time until that happens. Millie Weaver already got taken to jail for exposing information about how the National Intelligence Collection Apparatus functions and what they do, right? Alex Jones is literally next, and they're calling for it.
Yeah, well, they're not going to stop with just Julian, of course. But the fact that Joe Biden's like essentially writing another crime bill, he's like making protest and standing at, like, if you like speak out against capitalism or whatever, and everybody's like, oh, but it only means if you're violent. Who defines violence, fam? It's not us.
Exactly.
They define violence.
I'd like
I
to
remember-
say that all of these economic policies that we just endured for the past year, you know, the amount of people who had, you know, decided to commit suicide or just like that, all of these things are violent, you know.
Yes.
It's crazy. We're
Yeah,
not
it
paying
is.
tax to Jeff Bezos, like, so we can't, you know, help fund things that actually help people in the world. You
We're
know?
funding this guy's like dick measuring trip to
Yeah.
to space. I mean, his rocket literally looks like a wiener, and he's obviously compensating for something, but we're funding it, you know, like it's frustrating though, because like all of these things are happening and people are almost like actively cheering it on in some cases.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's really troubling.
He's also building a clock for some reason. A lot of people don't know he's building a clock.
Why is he building a clock?
I looked up every website I could, and it was so vague. Every single one. It was measure time. To measure time.
He's building a 10,000-year clock inside of a mountain in deserts in the southern
Oh my
United
God, this
States.
is like some comic book villain shit.
It is.
Exactly.
And it's powered by people interacting with the clock. Right, so from one of the articles, if I remember right from years ago, when you walk in there, you basically hit a pressure plate that then calculates how long it's been since that pressure plate was hit last, and updates the clock whenever anyone walks into Jeff Bezos' 10,000-year temple.
What?
But we don't have healthcare, we don't have a minimum wage, we don't have functioning infrastructure, but we got a 10,000-year clock built with basically slave labor in the middle of the desert.
No, they just blew up the ocean to like test another like a ship. Like and this is just normalized. Like, it's okay, it's fine that we can just like literally blow up billions of dollars, millions of dollars probably. But we can but really billions, because the entire military budget is just blowing up money basically, and people. Don't forget the people. We're also just killing the people too. It's fine. And the stealing of the resources, and it's fine.
Meanwhile, like 100 people or over 100 people are still missing in Florida, which is not close from what happened. Just saying, but you know. because infrastructure is just in the shit. Like we're doing nothing about it.
Oh, but there's a bipartisan infrastructure bill. Didn't you hear? Didn't you hear? Everything's fine. It's bipartisan. It's good stuff. Everything's fine. No, it's trash. And it's, but again, there are people that will cheer that on. I mean, I can't wait for like the squad to endorse this bipartisan infrastructure bill and to cheer on the DBE, the kidnapping of citizens and all of that stuff.
Them giving him an A rating is unforgivable.
He exceeded expectations, she said. What? I don't even know what that means. Like, okay, I know this isn't how she meant it, but okay, he's exceeded my expectations because he's like legit. I knew he was going to be terrible. He's been worse than I thought. He has been worse than even I thought. Like, it is bad. It's bad. I mean, the things that he's doing, and what's worse, and just like we all predicted, the things he's getting away with, the things that the media are covering for him on, is unbelievable. I mean, you can just take something as like kind of superficial as his son being caught using the N-word. If Donald Trump's kids would have said that, we would have heard about it for months. Like Rachel Maddow would have been
Donald
breathlessly.
Trump wrote the crime bill of the 1990s. You'd have heard about that all the time too.
But no, it's Joe Biden, so it's fine. And it's this weird, like, I don't know, cognitive dissonance, or like the team mentality is really powerful. I mean, seriously, we were talking about the other day, I forget who I was talking about it with. It might have been Black in the Empire on Twitter. But who I love, by the way. If you're not following him, you should be. I think it's like disabled vet or I don't know. I'm so terrible at names. I'm sorry, you guys. I'll find it. But yeah, like we were talking about that. Like my team's rapist is better than your team's rapist. Like that's where we're at.
For real,
and
though.
That's what it was.
Like I was at Trump's event here last time towards the end of October here in Ohio. And literally there was a group of BLM activists yelling that Donald Trump is a rapist pedophile. Then there was a group of Trump supporters yelling that Joe Biden's a rapist pedophile. And I'm like, each of you are 50% correct.
It's so weird. Oh, and then people try to pretend like Joe Biden is better than Donald Trump on policy. No, he's not. No, he's not. Like, okay, there are certain things that Joe Biden has better rhetoric on, absolutely, but the policy is the fucking same. It is it's arguably worse. Joe Biden's arguably worse on foreign policy, on what else? Immigration. He's given more money to ICE and more power to ICE. He's opening up new concentration camps, but those are overflow facilities now. I forgot. I'm sorry. Sorry, AOC. Sorry.
Isn't now being anti-capitalist terrorism?
Yeah.
Like
you're violent. How dare you be so violent, Jordan?
Call me crazy.
Hi, Kobe.
Hey, nice to officially meet you.
I know, I'm excited. I saw your face pop up and I'm like, no kidding. I didn't know you were coming. So
I'm literally driving home from the action right now. I've
That's
parked
amazing.
and gotten Dunkin' Donuts.
That's awesome. He was just at Franco's.
In their cars on their way home today.
I know, right?
Josh and Jordan driving home as well.
They're both driving home too.
Yeah,
I think I just left them like 45 minutes ago.
We were talking with some people at the Veterans Memorial just about an hour ago. We were walking around with an Ask Me About Assange sign, and we were handing out some flyers for Thursday. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
We just had a really interesting conversation with the vet. I don't think you were there for that, Kobe, but like
that was like right after I left. I think I saw him.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. It was real conversation. We did not agree on a lot of things, but we did agree on the important stuff of just like Julian deserves to have this should not be happening. Like we just shouldn't be here.
It seemed like he agreed with us, and he actually said, which really scared us, and we didn't really push back on it, was that he thinks that Edward Snowden is a traitor, but not only that he should be brought over here, tried, and then if found guilty, he should be executed. This guy,
oh my God,
a Marine veteran.
Yeah. It was intense.
But wait. Am I understanding here that you talked to somebody that you disagree with and you were able to find common ground and change their mind on some things? Is that what I just heard? That's weird. That doesn't happen.
Crazy.
That doesn't happen. You're lying. Lies.
Earlier in the day, we had a conversation with a guy who pretty much his only impression of Assange was the sexual assault claims against him.
A lot of those. Yeah.
And he was open-minded as we explained, why all of that had happened, how the charges had gotten dropped, how
there were no charges. Never
It
charges.
just looked, yeah, I would say it just looked like an excuse to extradite him to the United States, and that's why Julian fled them in the first place. And after we told him all that, he was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds logical. Like that makes sense."
Yeah.
People can change their minds, even people who have the
He didn't even really
propaganda
flee.
kind of in there.
He didn't even really flee. He hung out in Sweden for like 3 weeks and then asked permission to leave. And then the reason he sought asylum was because he knew that Sweden was working hand in hand with the United States in order to get him for extradition. And he was right. People called him crazy at the time. People said that he was paranoid. You're paranoid and blah, blah, blah. You should just go to Sweden and deal with this. And he was very cooperative. Like I said, he waited in Sweden for 3 weeks. He asked permission to leave. And then even after he left and sought asylum in the embassy, he was thoroughly open to cooperating. He volunteered himself multiple times, said that they could interview him over the phone or they could come to the embassy.
They wanted him to go there, right?
Yeah,
they were trying to make him go.
Of course they did, because then they can extradite him. And he knew exactly what they were doing, and people called him crazy, and it turned out he was right. And he did the right thing and the smart thing. But that people were going to try to use that against him, and that's one of the tougher smears to combat against, because it elicits like an emotional reaction.
Didn't the UN basically say that it was an arbitrary detainment in the embassy while he was fleeing those charges? So isn't that like the perfect way to refute what they're saying?
100%. Yes, he had every legal right.
The British court wouldn't even accept that he had asylum. They referred to him as absconding. Like just literally running. It would be like if he ran into the woods to avoid a court case. Like, yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
And he was never avoiding anything. He did everything that he could to be open and willing to participate in whatever legal process he needed to. But they've done a very good job of using the propaganda surrounding that as an effective weapon against him.
Yep, and that's all they have, because they can't refute any of the facts that Julian or WikiLeaks have presented. Nope. Nothing has been retracted in the entire history of the publication, and they just can't handle that. So they have to throw the whole bus at him, and
they know their case is trash too.
Yes,
they know. They know. That's why they're dragging this out. That's why there's no date for the appeal to even like.
Well, I feel like that's also why you don't really see a coordinated campaign anymore actively attacking him at the moment, because I feel like they can even sense that the winds have blown in Julian's favor.
Oh, I don't know. Have you been on Twitter today? They're out.
Oh, is there smears on Twitter today?
Howard Dean's got some shit to say today, and
that's not surprising.
Yeah. Howard Dean is a lobbyist. If you want to be blocked by Howard Dean on Twitter, go call him a lobbyist. He'll block you. He is such a thin-skinned little twerp. Like, you are an establishment stooge, dude. Nobody cares what you think.
But see, I'm not even thinking about people like Howard Dean. I'm thinking about like average liberals who would have been spreading the misinformation about Julian. Even they, when you actually respond to their criticisms and refute it, they just kind of don't know how to respond, and they almost start to take your position just because they realize you know more about what you're talking about than they do. And
Right. Exactly.
Well, that's the problem with the propaganda campaign that we talk about it all the time, decade-long smear campaign against this dude. And they've been very good about it. Like, they know, they're very good at like, figuring out what stories to do when and when to attack, you know what I'm saying? And it's been like this systematic attack. They've dehumanized him entirely. People don't see him as human. And when I've noticed that when I talk to people, they have like, it's like a gut reaction. Like either they don't know about him, never heard of him, or they're like, oh yeah, I kind of know that guy. They've maybe like heard his name or something mentioned.
They'll blame him for Trump. They'll say he helped elect Trump.
Yeah, liberals do. Yeah. Right now, that's the thing. It's so funny too, because 10 years ago, liberals were giving him standing ovations at TED Talks. You know what I mean? Like a room full of liberals was like,
when he embarrassed George Bush, it was okay. Yeah. When he revealed the Iraq war crimes, they were okay with it.
But
and then the Republicans didn't like him.
The hypocrisy with that is that, well, now Republicans are okay with him, but the hypocrisy of liberals being like using 2016 against him, even though that doesn't make any sense. What he's being charged with has nothing to do with that. And it's like this unbelievable inconsistency where so you want this guy to be punished because you don't like him, because what he's being charged with has nothing to do with the reason why you don't like him. Are you a big fan of war crimes and unaccountable government? Because that's what you're standing for right now, because but they don't recognize that. It's like it's an emotional thing. It's like this cult thing where, oh my God, he hurt Queen Mother Hillary Clinton, and so now they have to hate him, and it sucks. That's what we're up against.
And it's crazy how tied his case is to like the McCarthyism thing that's happening right now. I remember in 2016, right when the emails, the DNC leaks had come out, they went hard on the angle of, oh, Russia hacked that information, don't read it, it's treasonous. They immediately pivoted into that instead of refuting, oh, we didn't rig the primaries. No, that's not what they were arguing. They were just arguing, don't read it because that was Russian hacked information, don't you dare look at it. And that campaign lasted for 4 years.
CNN straight up told, was it Chris Cuomo, Andrew, I think, who stood up there and was like, it's illegal to have to have the WikiLeaks. You just come to us and we'll tell you what's in the WikiLeaks. And really? Like that was like a weird, I remember seeing that and thinking, what is happening? Is he really trying to say that like you aren't allowed? That's terrifying because that's like the level that they're trying to get to.
That's why it's so important that, like, not only when we go around talking about these issues, that we encourage everyone and just any person, that it is important that we think for ourselves and do our own research, because that's the only thing they have left. Like when it turns, and I mean, not the only thing, but that's their main source. They manipulate our minds. They can manipulate our physical resources and all that stuff, but what really gets us is our minds. And that so much of all of our political problems, like that we are okay with, is because they've normalized stuff in our minds, and it's just like so important.
Well, and they control all of the information. All of it.
And we don't want to. I think it's coming down a little bit. We need to stop also like deifying people. We need to stop, putting people who are in politics on pedestals. Like there have been some people twice now. It's been interesting hearing people try to compare Julian to Jesus, and I just don't think that's the way that we should.
That's weird.
Have the movement go, because end of the day, yes, he is a very brave, important, amazing person.
I got this piece from the guy who compared him to Jesus.
Yeah, but end of the day,
you met Chris. Okay. Okay.
Well, no, there was someone else at the busboy event as well who said that, and it's just why?
Yeah, that's weird. He's not. Listen, and I think that actually hurts Julian too, because a lot of people see him as like this, like superhero. Like, oh, look at all this stuff that he's been able to like he's been tortured for a decade and he's still like hanging in there. He's like so strong. No, he's fucking human, and he is being beaten down, and we need to remember that and remind people that he's a human and rehumanize him.
Personality, like it's good to compliment him. It's good to recognize the work he did and recognize his humanity, but when you take it to the point of cult of personality, that feeds into our attacks that we're getting against us of, oh, you guys just care about Assange, you don't actually care about a free press or any of these issues at all. Like that's how they try to spin it sometimes.
Yeah, that's because they're not very bright. But it also goes the other way, because a lot of people will say like weird things like, well, he's an asshole. Have you ever met him? Because I've never met him. I don't care. And honestly, I don't care if he's an asshole. I've said it before. Julian Assange could be like the biggest jerk on earth. He could be just like an unbelievable twat waffle, like somebody I would never hang out with. He could be horrible, say sexist things. He could be racist. And I would still stand up against what's happening to him because it's wrong. And I don't want, like, I know that there's a whole bigger picture here. And this will be the first time a journalist is ever prosecuted under the Espionage Act. And that sets a precedent that you can't come back from that. Like, I just don't know how you come back from that. And, handing your First Amendment rights over on a silver platter is really weird to me. I don't know why people aren't more upset about it, to be honest with you.
It's because they get so distracted by the cult of personality and the smears against him personally. So they feel like they can't defend him, or they have to always defend him with the caveat of, oh, but he's a bad person or whatever it is, because they feel like that's the only way they're allowed to say something nice about, the case itself. I mean, like you were saying, it could be like Tucker Carlson on Fox News, but it sets that precedent for all journalists around the world that they can be extradited to the U.S. So it doesn't matter if they're ideologically different, you hate them as a person,
Yeah,
it's the fact that the case sets a precedent that impacts us all, so it matters regardless of what you think about him.
The UK just had it. I should pull that up. Go ahead.
How many times do you guys see that Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon or fucking Jake Tapper, or Chris Cuomo, when are they talking about Assange? Never.
Well, like once every 2 years or something.
Well, Maddow played really into the Russia gate, hyping up the Russia story. And Maddow and MSNBC and CNN, even Fox News, they were implicated in the Pied Piper strategy revealed in the DNC leaks. So it's like they helped the smear campaign originally. They sometimes will occasionally throw their support towards his case. I think recently I saw a video where a few journalists did, but that they're trying to erase the fact that they were complicit in the DNC leaks, that they were pushing Russiagate initially hard.
I miss
Yeah.
Flint, Michigan, Rachel Maddow. That's when I still respected her. But
Yeah, well, I mean, if you just look at like the, I mean, we just saw United States just took down Press TV. That's a huge fucking deal. There's some. I'm trying to find it now.
Press websites. Because
Yeah.
of the
They shut down like
domestic
30. I think it was
terrorism
33 different
legislation
websites.
passed on the 9th.
Yeah, no, I mean, the United States is seeking global jurisdiction over information and journalism. You need to say that out loud to yourself until you realize what that means, because that should terrify you. Really? You want, these are people who are known liars. You know what I mean? Like, they've lied to you into numerous wars. They lied to you about everything. They lied to you about Flint. They lied to you about Biden. They lied to you about Trump. They lied to you about everything. And those are the people that you want to have control over global journalism. No, thank you. I mean, I guess maybe people are not afraid of like completely unaccountable government, but to me, that's terrifying.
yeah,
I don't know.
It always freaks me out too, because like the same people who are saying like, oh, it's okay that you shut down Press TV, or they're the same ones who would criticize RT, Russia Today. And it's like, regardless of what you think about the outlets, who owns them, what government runs them, whatever it is, do you think corporate media in the US should just be what everybody around the world consumes? Like, should the US government be the one who's deciding to shut down Press TV or RT or, anything like that? I feel like people need to recognize they're still doing journalism, just for a state-run outlet instead of a corporate outlet,
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that goes for Ryan Grimm and the Justice Democrats, basically excusing every single action that they have, but they aren't speaking out for Assange. There's no accountability for these people when we have journalists literally out there in the press enforcing their narrative.
Yeah, no, that's the problem. They're paid to do that. Like they're paid to not cover certain stories. They're paid, like Intercept is complete. We just talked about this. We don't need to rant about it again, but the Intercept is completely corrupted. I mean, they're paying Bellingcat. It's not good. Like, and that's a lot of our media. I mean, we have, 5 or 6 corporations that own 90% of the information you consume. That's fucking crazy.
Well, isn't the Intercept also billionaire funded? Wasn't that something people were talking about recently? And they're trying to do a fundraising drive to make it seem as if they're
very
grassroots
TYT.
Yeah. But they don't portray it that way. I listened to one of their podcasts yesterday. At the very beginning, Ryan Grimm saying, we rely on your grassroots support for our work and all this stuff. And it's like, but literally, if you're funded by a billionaire, you don't rely on it. You rely on it to not classify as a nonprofit.
They're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to like write maybe an article a year, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, that's Naomi Klein, all of those people. They're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to maybe write an article or two a year. Like, they're under it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. But they need your money, guys. They need your money.
They also need a way to funnel money to Bellingcat that's not through a government.
Yeah. So they're using your grassroots donations to give to Bellingcat.
So explain the connections, because I don't know that much about Bellingcat. I do know the narratives that people say about Bellingcat, the way they push the national security state forward.
So
but just talk about that a little bit. Explain the connection.
That, to be fair, has in theory no political slants. They're a mercenary intelligence group. On paper, that's what they say, right? You can, as an individual, as a corporation, as a government, or whatever, purchase their service in intelligence gathering. The Intercept was, by admission of Bellingcat, one of their biggest funders. So a adversarial journalistic institution is one of the largest funders for a private intelligence corporation that has worked and does work with American intelligence. So they're getting workshops. Like, their journalists are going to Bellingcat to learn how to do investigations
from the CIA
journalism, while at the same time the Intercept is walking their line for, like, example, what happened in Syria with the OPCW leaks and the staged chemical attack. Bellingcat's official position is like, yes, there were some things at the hospital that were staged, but there were people that were hurt, and it was chlorine gas, completely ignoring the OPCW's actual reports. And The Intercept puts out that same line and then defends it to death. Where they're like, well, it's a boring story. Why are we even going to look into that? We know what happened. Like, yeah, there were some stuff staged, and repeat almost word for word what Bellingcat puts forward.
Do you think it's a coincidence that there's that connection between The Intercept and Bellingcat, and some of the whistleblowers that have had their identities uncovered while whistleblowing to The Intercept? Do you think there's a connection there?
Yeah.
Huh?
Reality Winner is the best example. She came forward with a 4-page document that proved that the NSA is completely incompetent, and then went to prison for 5 years because of it.
Yeah, and that was because of The Intercept.
Do we know how that happened? Do we know how exactly they blew the
Intercept
identity?
is, well, it looks like incompetence, but again, they work with Bellingcat.
Yeah.
I
mean, they're that close. They're that many degrees of connection away from the government.
Yeah, I don't call Ken Klippenstein Fed Klippenstein for no reason. The Intercept is 100%.
How did you feel about what Chelsea Manning said yesterday?
I already went on a rant. You really want to get me started again? Because there was a whole...
I just want to hear it. I didn't see your tweets.
No, there was a whole ass rant that just happened. You missed it. You really did. I'm pissed. I'm pissed the fuck off for a multitude of reasons. I'm all over the place with it still because I'm trying to process it because it sucks. It really fucking sucks. To even say something like that is shitty, especially given the fact that he's currently being tortured to death. We're watching a slow motion execution. His birthday's coming up. His dad and his brother are in the United States trekking across the country trying to drum up support for him. And you got some snide petty comments to Ken fucking Klippenstein to make. The fact that she went to The Intercept, who's known for blowing sources, for fucking over their sources, is really, really, it's mind boggling. I don't understand that at all. Again, I'll say it again. If you are a whistleblower, stay the fuck away from The Intercept, please. So I seriously, I'm all over the place. I'm still just really angry and frustrated. And again, I mean, a multitude of emotions. And it hurts.
I listened to the podcast. I actually listened to at least part of it, and they led with that comment. It wasn't like that was just a comment that was just somewhere in the middle. No, they clipped that comment, put it at the very first,
and then they used it for promotion
as a promo. Yeah, as a promo.
They used it on Twitter as the promo too. They made a little meme or card out of it.
Well, I think it's because they knew it'd be inflammatory.
And
they
to
knew
me, I know, and that pisses me off too.
I don't think it was Chelsea's intent necessarily.
No,
but The Intercept.
The Intercept.
It's gross. Again, fuck The Intercept. Yes, they're using Chelsea to smear Julian, and it's fucking gross. And I don't know. Again, I don't care why she said what she said. I find it just unconscionable. Just the timing of it and the fact that he's being tortured right now today as you had that conversation, dude is being tortured.
What was the implication? It almost seemed like she was trying to imply that he was politically not aligned with her, and that was why she was making this statement.
This has been happening for a while. We've not said anything because she's Chelsea and we have a great deal of respect and admiration for her, but she's kind of been, she's a squad stan, and she's kind of, I don't want to trash her too much because, and which makes me mad.
Change the Democratic Party from within type of.
Yeah, it makes me mad that I hold back too, because it makes me a hypocrite because, I go off on everybody else, but this one's tough for me. Chelsea's tough for me because I've said many times, I don't like the word hero, but if I was going to use it to describe anybody, it'd be somebody like Chelsea. And so the fact that she's doing something like this is not easy for me to, it sucks.
It's I'm in that place where I critique it, but at the same time, it doesn't erase the fact that,
of course not.
She went back, that everything she did for Assange in the first place, the fact that she didn't speak and then got put back into prison for not speaking about this case.
Well, she also clarified.
So it doesn't erase all of that. It just bothers me,
She also clarified though that the whole it was never about not rolling over on Julian. It's just that she stands against grand juries on principle. So it doesn't it wasn't for him. It was just that she doesn't stand for grand juries, which is fine. That's still. I mean, I still appreciate the fact that you stood on principle there. I mean, that's still rather brave.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think
it doesn't erase that. Yeah.
No, of course not. But I think that this is kind of partisan. I think that this is, she's hanging out with Ken Klippenstein. She's a squad stan. She's, and it sucks.
Someone in chat asking what she said. So, Ken were around in 2010. He would have been the recipient. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
and
so it was
taken out of the way that, not taken out of context, I don't even want to word it like that. The way the Intercept is putting that forward is
It's
almost
gross.
as if it's supposed to sound like Chelsea was like attacking or degrading Julian and that Ken was better.
No, it just, to me, diminishes what's happening to
Yeah.
Julian right now. You know what I'm saying?
It's something you see a lot in journalism in general. Is it's really easy for a journalist or an outlet to listen to a 2-hour interview or however long it is, and then just clip out the one part they want to push a certain narrative or to antagonize people or to get them clicked, whatever it is. That's how it works when you're working on a profit model, when you're working on, doing it for attention and for money, not just for spreading the information. You do those sorts of little tricks here and there.
But the thing, so fuck private intelligence communities and their attempts at narrative control. We had information come out in Iceland, I believe today, about Teenager, one of the witnesses in Julian's case.
Yes.
Literally
He
walking
lied, right?
back his statements and saying
This is
that
big.
he lied in court, which is massive, and it should be
It's-
something that maybe the Intercept would
the
want to cover.
Yeah.
FBI
Hey,
became an
Ken
informant or
Klippenstein, cover that.
something.
Ken Klippenstein, go ask him to cover this.
Do we want to run through that as a group? Because I got a couple slides.
Yes.
It's not the whole article. I
love
put
that.
together like the important stuff.
Yeah, we definitely need to talk about it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, it's 2:40 already.
Go tweet it at him. We'll retweet it.
I'll
Yeah,
get this ready
yeah.
real quick.
I'll do it.
I sent him the text messages with stuff I did at Trump's event.
You did?
Yeah, I sent those to him while Jesse was singing.
Redeem yourself, Klippenstein. Cover Assange.
Right?
It's not asking for much. Like, I just mention it. Just your journal. I mean, if nothing else, it's weird to me when journalists won't talk about it. That's weird to me.
Do you want to
Why?
read this one?
Well, what it is, I really think what it is they view it as like a situation where if they talk about the case, it's too controversial. It's
Yeah,
like
coward.
they worry it'll hurt their political capital on their other issues, so they
And
won't weigh in.
their money and their access and all of that stuff.
Yep,
And plus,
yep.
he's told not to cover it. He
That's
works for
Yep.
an intelligence. Ugh. That's why.
Cool. So
Prove
key
you wrong.
witness in Assange's case admits to lies and indictment.
You want me to read, Andrew, or you got it?
Yeah, if you could.
Okay.
I don't want to embarrass myself in front of our friends.
Let's just hope I have a good reading day. All right. A major witness in the United States Department of Justice case against Julian Assange has admitted to fabricating key accusations in the indictment against the WikiLeaks founder. The witness, who has a documented history with sociopathy and has received several convictions of sexual abuse of minors and wide-ranging financial fraud, made the admission in a newly published interview with Student, where he also confessed to having continued his crime spree whilst working with the Department of Justice and FBI and receiving a promise of immunity from prosecution. The man in question, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because I'm terrible at names, y'all. Y'all know that. I don't know why I'm telling you. Was recruited. Or Siggy, was recruited by U.S. authorities to build a case against Assange after misleading them to believe that he was previously a close associate of his. In fact, he had volunteered on a limited basis to raise money for WikiLeaks in 2010, but was found to have used that opportunity to embezzle more than $50,000 from the organization. Julian Assange was visiting Thordarson's, home country of Iceland around this time due to his work with Icelandic media and members of parliament in preparing the Icelandic Modern Media Initiative, a press freedom project that produced a parliamentary resolution supporting whistleblowers and investigative journalism. The United States is currently seeking Assange's extradition from the United Kingdom in order to try him for espionage relating to the release of leaked classified documents. If convicted, he could face up to 175 years in prison. The indictment has sparked fears for press freedoms in the United States and beyond and prompted strong statements in support of Assange from Amnesty International, Reporters Without Borders, the editorial staff of The Washington Post, and many others. U.S. officials presented an updated version of an indictment against him to a magistrate court in London last summer. The veracity of the information contained therein is now directly contradicted by the main witness whose testimony it is based on. So let him go. The court documents refer to Mr. Thordarson simply as teenager, quote, teenager, a reference to his youthful appearance rather than true age. He is 28 years old. And Iceland as NATO country 1, but make no real effort to hide the identity of either. They purport to show that Assange instructed Thordarson to commit computer intrusions on hacking in Iceland. The aim of this addition in the indictment was apparently to shore up and support the conspiracy charge against Assange in relation to his interactions with Chelsea Manning. Those occurred around the same time he resided in Iceland, and the authors of the indictment felt they could strengthen their case by alleging he was involved in illegal activity there as well. This activity was said to include attempts to hack into the computers of members of parliament and record their conversations. In fact, Thordarson now admits to Student that Assange never asked him to hack or access phone recordings of MPs. His new claim is that he had in fact received some files from a third party who claimed to have recorded MPs and had offered to share them with Assange without having any idea what they actually contained. He claims he never checked the contents of the files or even if they contained audio recordings, as his third-party source suggested. He further admits the claim that Assange has instructed or asked him to access computers in order to find any such recordings is false. Nonetheless, the tactics employed by U.S. officials appear to have been successful, as can be gleaned from the ruling of the Magistrate Court Judge Vanessa Breitzer on January 4th of this year. Although she ruled against extradition, she did so purely on humanitarian grounds relating to Assange's health conditions, suicide risk, and the conditions he would face in confinement in U.S. prisons. With regard to the actual accusations made in the indictment, Breitzer sided with the arguments of the American legal team, including citing the specific examples from Iceland, which are now seriously called into question. Other misleading claims can be found in the indictment and later reflected in the magistrate's judgment based on Thordarson's now admitted lies. One is a reference to Icelandic bank documents. The magistrate court judgment reads, quote, it is alleged that Mr. Assange and teenager failed a joint attempt to decrypt a file stolen from a, quote, NATO country 1 bank. This depiction leaves out an important element, one that Thordarson clarifies in his interview with Student. The login information was in fact his own and not obtained through any nefarious means. In fact, he now admits he had been given this access as a matter of routine due to his work as a first responder while volunteering for a search and rescue team. He also says Assange never asked for any such access. Student cannot find any evidence that Thordarson was ever instructed to make those requests by anyone inside WikiLeaks. Thordarson himself is not even claiming that, although he explains this as something Assange was aware of, or that he had interpreted so that this was expected of him. How this supposed nonverbal communication took place he cannot explain. Furthermore, he never explained why WikiLeaks would be interested in attacking any interest in Iceland, especially at such a sensitive time while they were in the midst of publishing a huge trove of U.S. diplomatic cables as part of an international media partnership. Assange is not known to have had any grievances with Icelandic authorities and was in fact working with members of parliament in updating Iceland's freedom of press laws for the 21st century. So this dude just straight up lied about everything. And
kind of like what they're doing to the Julian's entire case.
Yeah. No, that's, and you're right. All of it is crap. Like everything, as you look at it and really examine it, when you can sit down with somebody who's open-minded to looking at the actual facts, you can dismantle every single piece of their case against him. All of it.
What's so frustrating is it's like we can dismantle it, but it's really hard for a lot of people who aren't super politically involved to believe us. We almost sound like conspiracy theorists, almost like that's by design of the way that they've made all these things. Because if we refute all 5 of those things, if you refute them individually, people will believe you. But if you are talking to somebody who they go, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, what about this? And you try to refute all of them with real facts, and then they'll go, well, I don't know. What are the odds that all of those coincidences are happening at once? That's how they think about it.
It's not
but
coincidence, it's planned.
These are not coincidences. Like they designed it that way to persecute him.
Yeah, no, like I was inviting all of the members of the Ohio House of Representatives for our home run event here. And
none of them showed up.
I literally had to sit there for like 20 minutes and think about how I wanted to word this and not sound like someone
crazy
that's
person.
Absolutely like ranting, because the case has
you see my
so
struggle?
much that's there that even putting one part of it under a spotlight, you're like, there's no way that that's actually happening.
I think that's also a big it kind of blocks people from getting more involved because it's overwhelming. Like you have to, there's so much you have to know and learn and read, and it's really difficult to find legitimate sources because nobody covers this. Like even independent media, it's hard to find stuff where it's like, I mean, you have like Kevin Gosztola and Mohammed El-Mazi and Stefania Maruzzi, and like there are some people out there doing great work, but I mean, it's more difficult to find real sources. I'm going to give big props to Caitlin Johnstone for that massive ass article that she did combating all the smears, not all the smears, but a vast majority of them, because there's, you know, they always get something new. There's always something else they can throw at the wall. But that article, if you are trying to become more involved in Assange activism, it is a must bookmark. Like you have to have that in your arsenal. It's necessary.
What was said
that's how they do
it. So true. That the reason people don't get involved is because it's so much to unpack and they don't want to be associated with some of those smears. It's like they threw the stickiest smears at him you possibly can, like, you know, sexual assault claims. He's treasonous and working with Russia. He helped get Donald Trump elected. Like,
he's a hacker. He's a high-tech terrorist.
The most controversial things that you could possibly be associated with, they threw it at him. And that's why anybody who only hears one of those, you know, oh, I don't want people to think that I am defending a rapist, or I don't want people to think that I am defending a treasonous you know. And so that's how you prevent people from even moving past like one of those.
The traitor thing cracks me up because he's not American. People say that all the time, like, oh my God, he's a traitor. And I'm like, guys, he's not American.
So the Marine I talked to today actually posed a pretty interesting question, which was that he's not an American citizen. So why is he granted the First Amendment right of?
Why is he being charged under our Espionage Act? He can be charged under our laws, but he's afforded none of the protections. That doesn't make any sense. That's having your cake and eating it too. You don't get to charge him under your Espionage Act and then be like, nope, our First Amendment doesn't apply to you. But that's exactly what they're doing because they can.
And it's no coincidence, I think, they did the Press TV thing this same week too, because they're trying to, again, exert the fact that they have control over the international press. You know, they see all this Julian Assange activism going on, and so they go ahead and shut down 33 news stations around the world. You know, almost like a power play. Yeah,
it's just going to get worse. They're really clamping, like they're coming down hard on dissent, on information, conversation. Like they don't want you to know things, and they don't want you to fight back, and you can't fight back if you don't know. How are you going to fight? You have no idea what's going on. And that's exactly how they like it.
And that's why we need more independent media in general.
Yes.
Because when you work for, you know, regardless of if there are good journalists at some of these mainstream outlets, like just by the very fact that they work for, you know, these millionaires, billionaires, like these oligarchs, you have to self-censor. You have no choice when you work for them. You either self-censor or they fire you. You know, that's just how it works. And they all know that. Everybody who works in that industry, who is a little subversive or thinks a little differently, they're aware of the fact that they have somebody breathing over their neck constantly.
Well, even somebody like Aaron Matei has admitted on Jimmy Dore's show that, like, if you're in this business, you kind of have to self-censor if you want. Like, you have to be careful about what you talk about and what you cover, because there's certain, you know what I mean? Like, you have to think about,
Look at Tariq Haddad in the OPCW leaks. Like, he had a great life as a named journalist in an institution where he would have career-based security, right? Like, all he had to do was not report on the OPCW. And he decided that he's not taking it. That I believe it was Newsweek that he worked for that said, you're not reporting on the OPCW.
Bounced.
And he said, well, I'm not working for Newsweek. I'm still reporting on the OPCW. And stories like that, I think, are really inspirational, because there are decent journalists. Like, there are people that want to do a great job as a journalist and expose facts and hold people accountable. And like the Project Veritas leaks show it greatly. In the last couple weeks, they've been having journalist after journalist from just local press institutions, like local Fox and CBS News's, come forward and be like, hey, my bosses are telling me what I can and can't say on TV in regards to very important conversations, because it doesn't toe the line of advertisers. So I think from that low level all the way up is...
Well, I mean, we saw that with the Sinclair video where it's scripted. All of that shit is scripted. You're being hit with propaganda from every angle. And, you know, when you have, and this is, again, you have corporate controlled media, corporate controlled government. It's not good. That's not good.
Well, that's why it frustrates me so much when people criticize like other countries' state-run media, because it's like we have 4 corporations that own like all 700 or 800 local news stations.
Yes.
That's how
we are
you
the
have
most
Sinclair Broadcasting
propagandized
posted out
country
there like
on
that.
earth. We are
Yeah,
the
and so
most,
it's like,
it's no question.
and, so, and there are Americans who work for RT. Like there are Americans who work for Telesur. You know, these are real American journalists. They're not foreign agents, but I think the government forced people who work for RT to register as foreign agents to perpetuate that myth that they are, you know, agents of Russia, not journalists just doing a job. You know, they go to RT because RT is the only one who will actually give them a microphone and let them say the things that they're saying. And so that's why I wish people wouldn't, you know, judge a journalist simply based off the outlet they're at, but like, you know, really, what are they doing and why are they at certain outlets? You know, how are they covering things? Do they seem to agree with their employer or not? You know, that's something people really need to try.
I don't even care if you
out.
agree with your employer. I just care about what you're covering and how you're covering. I want to, if you're like an honest actor, if you're trying to find the truth, if you're, you know, but these people, it's like Lee Camp does a much better job than Rachel Maddow or Chris Cuomo, or, you know what I mean? It's not even close. It's not even, and like, and I'm not saying that that's like, I'm not praising RT. RT's got its issues too. It's, you know, no media outlet is perfect. They're all going to have their biases and their bullshit, but they're certainly better than our mainstream media. There is no question. It's not even a question.
Well, it's frustrating too, because it helps them perpetuate the myth that we are associated with Russia because, oh, like, you know, you said nice things about RT, you must be a Russian spy.
No, they'll do that anyway.
You know, that's what they, but it's like, that's what's so frustrating about the fact that mainstream media doesn't cover certain opinions, but then RT covers our opinions, because then it just, you know, we want to go somewhere where they cover our opinions and they actually let us talk, but then you have that dual-edged sword of you go talk there and now you're Jill Stein sitting at the dinner with Vladimir Putin and that they're using that to smear you for years, you know.
I just don't understand how people don't realize how like religiously cultic they are, like when it comes to these things. Like we were just talking about this earlier. It's just like this, like they, whether it's the conservatives or liberals, like you act like a cult. Like this is like religion. I grew up in the church. I know what that feels like, and I left that, and then I see it happening. I see the same rhetoric, like when they change believe God to believe science, like it's the same thing. Like it's the same thing, because science is not the same thing as a deity. Like it's a practice. It's something that is not going to be perfect.
Anybody who actually respects science knows that science isn't perfect and it's going to get it wrong, and it's always questioning.
Science involves refutation. You know,
it requires it. It requires
science implicitly involves refuting past science to make new science.
Consistent challenge. Like science needs to be consistently challenged. That's what science is. And so this whole like believe science is really weird. It's so you're right.
Like
it's
blind
creepy.
trust.
It is great.
You know, science is it's antithetical to science.
Yes. Yeah, what the cult that they've built up around it, yes. Because I love science. I think science is fascinating. I love that, you know, I'm terrible at science, but I am a great fan of people who are like seeking answers and all of that stuff in any arena. But yeah, it's the way that they've built it up to like this cultist thing where you can't even dare question it. Like if you question Dr. Fauci, then you're questioning science. That's
like
weird.
Pastor, like a pastor. That's literally it. I mean, the analogy could not be more clear. And I don't understand. I mean, there were a lot of people like me who were disaffected, former Christians, and they wanted to find some other source of guiding light. And what they found tolerance, you know, within the Democratic Party, or at least the idea of tolerance and all of that, you know, but they didn't change their practices, their mind of thinking of not like putting people on a pedestal, of, you know, taking accountability for your own life and not waiting for someone to just come out and like give you everything you need. Like, of course there's a balance, you know, but it's like, that's what I think a lot of it is, especially, you know, progressives, because you want to do good, but doing good doesn't mean telling people how they need to be and acting basically like those religious Pharisees or whatever. Like, I don't understand how they don't see that they are being those people now. Like, it's clear as day to me, and I don't get it.
Yeah. Fascinating.
It reminds me of what Rose McGowan had said about, you know, both political parties are cults. And it's so frustrating because, like, I'll say something critical of Republicans and then Democrats will love me. Then I'll say something critical of Republicans and Democrats will love me. And then I'll tell them, yeah, but don't you see how you're just like a mirror image of that other one in a lot of ways? They're like, no, I'm better because, or, you know, they have some way of explaining it away. And it's like, but you're still voting. You admit, even Democrats, like they'll admit that they are voting for somebody who's corrupt, but we have to because it's the lesser of two evils. It's like, and even Republicans, they'll admit that they don't like Donald Trump, but Joe Biden, the socialism, it's just too scary. And so
the fact
so
that anybody
frustrating.
thinks Joe Biden is a socialist is still, and people really believe that, and it's so fucking funny to me. He is dude's a fascist. Like he's borderline, like he's fascist.
He's a Republican.
100%. He is an authoritarian. Captain Crime Bill is a socialist. No, that's not how that works, fam. That is not how that works. But you're right.
The point where the Joe Bidens and the Mitt Romneys have become the same. They are not. They used to be at least have some symbolic differences. I don't even think that's a thing anymore. I think they are literally the same now.
They have rhetoric differances. That's the only thing. They have rhetoric. Like Joe Biden will, and he's not even great. Like he's not great at it. Like he screams at women journalists, and he's just they'll pretend to care about LGBTQ rights, or they'll pretend to care about abortion rights.
But even Mitt Romney pretends to care about some of those things now.
Right. No, but on the other side, that's what I'm saying though. It's just they pretend to care from different sides. So they have different rhetoric. They're trying to appeal to different teams. And that's exactly what it is. They've divided us into teams so that we're fighting amongst ourselves rather than paying attention to the fact that they're all working together to screw us over. So, and that's what it really boils down to. It's not about like they try to divide us and keep us fighting, but it's not about that. Like we can have our disagreements later, but first we need to deal with the system designed to kill us. Maybe
that reminds me of didn't before the weekend Trump announced his campaign in 2016, I remembered hearing that Joe Biden had spoken on the phone.
Bill Clinton.
Or not Joe Biden. Was it Bill Clinton? Bill Clinton had spoken on the phone with Trump, encouraging him to run.
Dude,
and then the Pied Piper strategy, they told the media to elevate him.
Yeah.
There's the Pied Piper.
She picked her own opponent.
If you literally just go to Google and type in WikiLeaks DNC Pied Piper,
it comes up.
You will literally see that Hillary Clinton's staff, approved by her, hand-selected Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, and Ben Cardin, I believe, to be elevated as the thinking cast of the Republican Party, and should be cast and presented in the media as the serious Republican candidates.
She literally got her minions in the media to give Donald Trump billions of dollars and free airtime and treat him as a legitimate candidate. That is exactly what she did. She handpicked her own opponent and then lost anyway. And that's reality. That's what.
It's just so frustrating because they pretend like they hate Trump. They pretend like they're his opposition. And
dude, there was just a picture.
Him and his friend forever.
There was just a picture on Instagram of Joe Biden's granddaughter with Donald Trump's daughter. They hang out. They go to the same dinner parties. They vacation together. They're all friends. They're all owned and operated by the exact same people, and they're actively working to fuck you over daily. And stop fighting with your neighbors. You can have those conversations later.
Meanwhile, people's friendships are ending because they're
not just friendships. People are disowning family members over this shit. My rapist is better than your rapist. We can't talk anymore. What the fuck? We live in a cartoon. Yeah, there it is. So this is a memo. This is inside strategy. This is,
Yeah.
all the things that they can go after the Republicans and make them look bad, and all the ways they can make them look extreme, and she, you know. No, yeah, that's.
Yep.
Yeah, all you got to do is just like DuckDuckGo or Google, preferably DuckDuckGo or something similar, like the Pied Piper email.
Because I know Donna Brazile. I think in Donna Brazile's article.
I'm so mad.
We could hear you. They couldn't hear you.
No, we heard you.
I suck.
We could hear you.
Yeah, we heard you.
I heard you.
Were you muted for the show though?
I was muted for the show.
You are unbelievable,
I
fam.
suck, dude. I'm so bad at my job.
You're a boomer.
You all can read though, so all he did was read it. But
And
Andrew
I'm
is the king of the mute.
dyslexic, so I'll go back, clip that out, and read it better, and so you can hear me.
You'll post that on the video you upload. You'll audio it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I'll
you
make
can do
it
a
specific
voiceover.
for that. I'm sorry. I'll have
That's
fun
funny.
with it. I apologize. I'm really
He's
bad
the
at
king
tech stuff.
of the mute. Seriously, it's amazing.
But I would like to thank everybody for joining us for Free Assange Vigil. We do got to close out though. We are a little past time.
Yeah, we
But
are.
if you guys want to go around, say who you are, where they can find you, and then shout out your guys' next event.
Everyone come out on the 1st. We're at the Department of Justice, 950 Pennsylvania Avenue. You can find us all at DC Metro 4, number 4 Assange on Twitter and Instagram.
I'm Kobe. You can find my political writing / journalism on ProPeace97 at Twitter.
Woo! Miss Jordan, everything okay?
Under arrest.
Yeah,
Sorry,
goodbye,
I'm
Jordan.
still in DC. That's my bad, everyone. I didn't know what to say. An ambulance is coming. Yeah. So same as what Josh says. We're so sorry. Very excited to see everyone out on Thursday from 12 to 2 p.m. There'll be speeches. There'll be performances. Hopefully, Paula really wants me to perform. So I'll see what I can do there. I'm excited because I got a lot of most of my songs are actually really more activist related and because anger comes through the guitar. And but I'm really excited. It was really encouraging to see everything today, especially with the anti-coup protests with Peru. Yeah, I'm here for the momentum. I can feel it, and all it takes is a conversation. Yeah, you can find me also with DC Metro for Assange, and also I'm Mad Black Virgo on Twitter as well. So thank you so much for y'all for having us here today.
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
very
You guys are doing a
excited
great
about
job.
everything. Yeah,
You guys are awesome.
thank you.
Yeah, of course. I can't wait to see you guys next week. That's going to be fun.
Yeah,
Okay,
likewise.
so I'm Misty. You can find me on Twitter at Sarcasm Stardust. I have another show called Facts on the Ground with Jesse Zerwell. We have a couple cool things coming up. I have Bitch with Comrade Misty Wednesdays at 7. I still have no idea who I'm having this week. I want to do an Assange related episode for Assange Week, but I keep like panicking myself about who I'm going to have on. So I don't know. Well, it'll be a mystery. And then
let's get him to rant.
But he's in the UK though, because that's like
true.
midnight his time. Because I was gonna have Gordon Dimmick, and I'm like, but that's late for them. So yeah, I need to figure out who I want to have. I don't know, and I'm actually gonna be in DC, so I'm gonna have to film it or like do the live stream from DC. So I guess I could get some of the. I should just get some of the people who are with us hanging out.
Get us through.
Yeah, we could have like a big ass panel or something. That would be fun. We could just bitch about how they're torturing Julian Assange. That's actually, let's do that, guys. Can you guys hang out with me Wednesday night?
Yeah.
You can come to like I have an Airbnb with Paula that we're all sharing. So yeah, we can just do, okay. We'll work that out. We'll work that out.
The plan. Let's do it.
Yay! No, I haven't.
Right,
See,
bet.
now I can stop panicking. That's good. I like this.
All right, ooh.
We got the
okay.
plan settled.
Yeah. So
Took 30
I
seconds. We
think-
got it.
I know. I like this. Don't forget Daniel's DC, North Carolina billboard campaign. He would like to get some up before the birthday. So, and I'm forgetting stuff. I know I am. I always do. Fuck it. Go ahead, Andrew. I'm done.
I will drop the home run events.
Are you
in chat.
muted?
Again, I am unmuted. I'm sorry. I'll show you the button. I'll show you the button that's killing me. Let me pull it up on the screen. It's this one right here. have two mutes. I have the one
Oh.
in Jitsi and then the one on here.
All right, I'll cut you some slack, but it's still ridiculous.
It is. No, it is.
Boomer.
It absolutely is.
It's
I'm
pretty
sorry.
ridiculous.
It happens like once a week. It's terrible.
At least.
So, with that, I just want to thank everybody for hanging out. I think this was probably one of the funnest ones we've had in a long time with so many different guests, different people, Jesse Jett, Free Assange UK, you guys. So, just thank you. Thank you for
Thank
continuing
you.
to organize and
Thank
being
you.
awesome and advocating and being out in the streets.
Free
Yeah,
Assange.
Oh yeah.
free Assange, absolutely. Thank
Is everybody still hanging out with me? What I'm going to do, since I suck, is just go through this Pied Piper strategy email right now. Let me make sure my screen looks good. This memo is intended to outline a goal of Hillary Clinton's potential presidential campaign. And this is in April 7th, 2015. So if you remember back, this was when the primaries were very much still in full swing, right? So this shows, just this alone, the long-term strategy specifically to help Hillary Clinton. Our hope is that the goal of a potential Hillary Clinton campaign and the DNC would be one and the same: to make whomever the Republicans nominate unpalatable to the majority of the electorate. We've outlined 3 strategies to attain our goal. Force all Republican candidates to lock themselves into extreme conservative positions that will hurt them in the general election. Undermine any credibility/trust Republican presidential candidates have to make inroads in our coalition and independence. Muddy the waters on any potential attack lodged against Hillary Clinton. Operationalizing the strategy. The Pied Piper candidates. There are 2 ways to approach the strategies mentioned above. The first is to use the field as a whole to inflict damage on itself, similar to what happened to Mitt Romney in 2012. The variety of candidates is positive here, and many of the lesser known can serve as a cudgel to move more establishment candidates further to the right. In this scenario, we do not want to marginalize the extreme candidates, but make them more Pied Piper candidates who actually represent the mainstream Republican Party. Pied Piper candidates include, but are not limited to, Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, Ben Carson. We need to elevate the Pied Piper candidates so that they are leaders of the pack and tell the press to take them seriously. Undermining their message and credibility. Most of the establishment candidates will want to focus on building a winning strategy in the general election coalition. The Pied Pipers of the field will mitigate this to a degree, but more will need to be done on certain candidates to undermine their credibility among our coalition, communities of color, millennials, women, and independent voters. In this regard, the goal here is to show that they are just the same as every other GOP candidate, extremely conservative on the issue. Some examples: Jeb Bush, to undermine the notion he is a moderate Jeb Bush, moderate and concerned about regular Americans, perceived inroads with the Latino population. Marco Rubio, what to undermine? The idea that he has fresh ideas, fresh Marco Rubio. This perceives to appeal to Latinos. Scott Walker, so on and so forth. Rand Paul's, to undermine the idea that he is different, that he is a different kind of Republican. His stance on the military and his appeal to millennials and communities of color. Muddying the waters. As we all know, the right-wing attack machine has been building its opposition research on Hillary Clinton for decades. The RNC has been telegraphing that they are ready to attack and do so with reckless ambition. One way we can respond to these attacks is to show how they are boomeranging into the Republican candidate field. The goal then is to have a dossier on GOP candidates, a dossier on GOP candidates on the likely attacks Hillary Clinton will face. Based on attacks that have already occurred, the areas they are highlighting: transparency and disclosure, donors and associations, building or management and business dealings. In this regard, any information on scandals or ethical lapses of GOP candidates would serve well. They won't be picky. Again, we think our goals mirror the DNC. We look forward to continuing the conversation. Pied Piper, everybody. Pied Piper, everybody. So, thank you for hanging out for a little bit extra. Take it easy.